The Green Monster is a Georgie Boy Cruise Master built on a Chevy P30 chassis with a Vortec 454 engine, 1997 model, given to us as a project by Carol's dad. Here you see the roof on the Georgie Boy. It was a mess. Big tree branch went through the top, punched a hole, and the leak ruined most of the forward area of the motor coach. On the generator, Generac no longer builds motorhome generators. This one just needed a carburetor rebuild. The roof leak damaged the passenger side wall, destroyed the integrity of the rear view mount. It fell off, and that was an entirely separate project. Short clip shows where the roof rotted. All of the cabinets at the top were damaged, and the entire ceiling support. So this is the wood under the ceiling, the carpet on the ceiling. All of that was destroyed. This is a shot of the auto park brake. This is the brake that keeps the coach in park. There is no park on the transmission. The auto park brake is a whole bag of kind of bad ideas, but we were able to rebuild it. I'll build a completely separate video on the auto park brake. The Chevy 454 Vortec is a pretty good engine. This one sat too long. A whole list of problems ensued. Most important, the destruction of the fuel pump and the fuel tank that required removal through the luggage compartment over the fuel. While checking fuel pressure, I bumped the crank position sensor lead on the distributor, broke it off, had to replace the distributor. Here's the top of the fuel tank. That's the fuel pump. You'll have to pull that out and replace it. The door handle was, of course, broken. The part was readily available. It was not cheap. I think maybe $150 to $200. So that was pretty quick to get in, but it was surprisingly expensive. Well, so much for the bad and the ugly. Now let's look at the transformation as Carol takes on the interior. She chose a lot of solutions to keep the cost down. And there's a math formula that we'll jump into about how to buy these older coaches. I like the P30 for a couple of reasons and hate it for some reasons. But for this ilk of coach, there's a way to buy these and get them reliable and either keep them or flip them. And so in this case, let's focus on Carol's tricks on the interior. She removed the valances and the shrouds and the heavy curtains and pretty much every vestige of old school RV design. And her mission was to simplify and control cost. Here you get the paper pleated shades. Then you have the fluted kind of black cone light fixture. Lighting is huge in terms of moving an older RV into a modern look. Then she went after the seat cushions and had them recovered by an affordable seamstress. And so take a good look at this dinette. The front of the coach, the cabinets, the roof liner, and both of the side cabinets were ruined. And so I rebuilt those and saved the cabinet doors. And then instead of using stain on the cabinet work, we used a one coat paint with a kind of a teal color to play off the original color scheme. And so we rebuilt all that woodwork, reused the cabinets, replaced the wooden ceiling after resealing the EPDM roof. Put fiberglass pink Corning insulation in the roof and up in the nose cap behind the cabinets, and then use some foil backed insulation to seal that all off. Once that was built, then you had the cabinets painted and hardware put back on that was painted a bronze color. So we reused the cabinet doors, we reused the hardware. The ceiling was made out of 1/4 inch plywood, and then we used a ceiling headliner from Sailrite, and we bought that by the yard and stretched it over the 1/4 inch plywood using a 3M adhesive glue, and then remounted it to the ceiling where I had placed a large strut, wooden 2x6 that I trimmed to an arc, and put in the ceiling to create the additional support with it resting on the outer edges of the frame to get away from that old look of the natural oak wood with varnish or deft on it. Carol went with a black opaque paint and overpainted all of that varnished wood using this special one-step paint. She went with white to make the backsplash more refreshing. And then, of course, she's using a kind of gray teal scheme on both the cushions for the seats and the paint that accented all the way up to the front of the coach. This was really a big transformation. This picture is another great view of the kitchen from another angle. Again, light white pleated shades to keep the cost down and refresh the interior. Bathroom, and again, kind of a black and a white scheme. The backsplash is a metallic peel and stick. It can be trimmed with a pair of tin snips. It's easy to cut to size and then adhere to the backsplash. You can see the black cabinets again, and then an interesting but affordable blind that's a gray, kind of gradiated shade to create an accent in the bathroom. This comes off really updated. We got rid of the yellow plastic sink and the plastic faucets, replaced it with a white plastic sink and chrome plastic faucets. But that's how you keep the cost down. And so that sink was like $49. The faucets were like $15. And so your job here is to get it all back to at least the standard it was, but modernized and keep the cost down. The back bedroom, and you can see it's super crisp. This was the teal gray one coat paint. The handles are the old gold cheapies, but they've been repainted with spray paint to a dark oiled bronze. And then a couple of those pleated shades, or actually Roman shades, that were fabric that we picked up on sale and then sent over to our seamstress friend who is fabulous and affordable. And she cranked out 2 of these shades for a really good price. In fact, I think 3. And in they go. Now, the tinted windows give a funny pink hue to the photograph, but you can see it's a really nice look. And this is a 97 coach that's beginning to look very contemporary. Another shot of the bedroom, and just to see the miracle of putting soft goods in and getting rid of those old curtains. This Roman shade was really a stroke of genius. And here you've got another shot of the front of the coach. We wanted you to see the slip cover that went over that old sofa. Sofa was solid and easy, good to sit on, but its fabric was super dated, and so this slip cover was color schemed to match the rest of the plan that she brought in. But it was an affordable elastic edge slip cover. You can also see the cabinet work here. Here's a shot back to the dinette and just giving the view of the bench covers. That was a solid fabric that we put on the dinette seat covers and backs. Super basic work there, but it rebranded the whole look of the dinette. Also notice the sconce on the wall in some of the pictures. That was a replacement. The outside transformation was remarkable. We didn't spend money where we didn't have to. So we didn't actually repaint the lower portion of the coach. We focused on the power wash and clean up. The rest of that was functionally operational, so we stopped there. All right, here's where we started. Really a mess and probably unrecoverable, but the next picture is our big reveal. And here's where we ended up. This is a good looking coach. I like this particular year model. It's a big coach. It's affordably priced if you buy into it correct. So think about taking on these kinds of projects. You can conquer pretty much everything. Just be concerned about making sure your engine, transmission, air conditioners, those are places to be careful. Here's a good view of the exterior. You can see the new door handle there. It also has one of those clear lighted pull handles on the side. It's quite clean. Then you move on to a rear the view of the back. Also looks pretty crisp. Nice smoked window on the back. Ladder was solid. Here's a view of the front where the rearview mirror was remounted. Functional. And here's a shot of the branding for the Chevy Cruise Master. And the vinyl decals held up reasonably well. There is a product called 303. Use that to try to give them a little more luster. And here's the front end of the coach coming right up. And we actually tested the power washer on that hood first. When we saw it worked, that gave the project legs. Here's a view of the side. The decals show a little wear. I did replace some of those basement cabinet door latches that clip from the top. You eagle eyes out there will spot the rag hanging out of the LP furnace vent. That's to keep wasps out. They have a habit of nesting in any hole on the side of the coach. Here's a shot of the mirror rebuild. That tape is where I slit the exterior skin, rebuilt it underneath. I fiberglassed it in underneath that, sanded that out smooth, and then restored the vinyl skin. This picture is another miscellaneous shot of the side of the coach. And now you get the before and after shot for the project. The lessons learned on this project are, first off, start with a solid engine. These Vortex are reasonably resilient. Find a solid engine. We had engine challenges that raised our cost. Second, you can pick up a coach with roof damage and interior rot. It is repairable, and so don't shy away. Look for low cost with a basic running gear and a decent engine, and then go after the cosmetics. Keep your costs down. Focus on using the RV sourced sinks, hardware, plumbing that are more affordable in order to get a running and operational coach without a big expense. Finally, as you look at the key systems, we had two air conditioners that ran, LP stove that was functional. That's fairly common. Those LP stoves are real reliable. Furnaces, the same thing. The ACs are expensive and dicey if they're old, so focus on getting your ACs operational and holding down your costs there.